I think for anyone who is a young professional listening, there is a time in your career where you wonder where you get to that point where you get to have a seat at the table, as they say often, and be a part of decisions made. And I thoroughly enjoy being a part of that decision making process and have really enjoyed to see the different parts of running a law firm and making decisions about the law firm that I didn't get to see before. I also think that being a part of the group, I get to add a different and unique dynamic to the conversations because obviously I look at things very differently than the partner or differently than our operations manager will. And I really think when you're coming up with discussions that are going to have a huge impact on your firm, sometimes having those different opinions in the room really help make those decisions. And I have enjoyed being a part of the leadership team.
While legally in, I think, all but one state, only lawyers can have an ownership interest in a law firm, that only lawyers should be involved in managing a law firm, because I think that one, you need to get good, accurate, timely information from people that have their, the boots on the ground. The lawyers are off doing hearings and depositions, meeting with clients, so you don't always know what all's going on in the office. But two, having a law degree is not training for running a business. In fact, most lawyers, including me, historically, have been poor business managers and poor business people. And having other voices and other brains in the room, I found has made us better. And so I would really encourage people, if you're thinking about creating a leadership team in your firm, to include the non-lawyer leaders in your firm. You're going to get more buy-in, but you're also going to get better information to make decisions, and you're going to get good ideas because lawyers don't have a monopoly on good ideas.
We have conflict in our meetings, and we have to trust each other to have conflict, and that didn't happen overnight. It had to take time for us to feel comfortable having those really tough conversations, and that's also another part of having a strong leadership team. The one thing that I've really enjoyed about us doing that is it also holds us accountable. And it's something for us to continue to refer back to and stay focused on, because every time we're doing something with regards to the law firm, we ask ourselves, does this match with what we have as a goal for our firm?
Right.
And it holds us accountable, and it keeps us on track. And I've really enjoyed that, seeing that actually happen.
Yeah, and it's, we've been able to say, does this align with our values as far as making decisions? Like one of our core values is we fight hard without being a-holes. And so, it's real easy. If someone like the other side says, can I get a 2-week extension on something? Well, unless it's going to really hurt our case, the answer is yeah, of course you can. The question is, hey, can you do me a favor and, take, instead of taking $1 million, can you take $950 on this case and do me a favor, maybe look with the adjuster? Our core value is maximizing the value of our case. No, we can't. Mm-hmm. And so, you go back to those core values and it helps you make those decisions. I guess two of the things that Lencioni talks about is, one is what he calls vulnerability-based trust. So not trust that I trust you're going to do what you say, which is important, but trust in that I trust that I trust that you will believe that I have our team's best interest at heart, that I care about you, and that if I say something that is going to be critical of you or that disagrees with you, that you will accept that as coming from a good place rather than trying to put you down. Mm-hmm. And that is hard to develop. Once we talk through an issue, that we are absolutely all in agreement. But there's other things, and I'll just give one, a vaccine mandate at the firm. Mm-hmm. I mean, we had passionate, but I think respectful discussion. We don't all agree, but I made the decision that no, I don't believe that I, as an employer, have the right to mandate medical decisions for people. And some people agreed with it, some people didn't, but we're all living with it, and no one's bringing it up again because it's the decision's been made. And that's one of the biggest ones, because of you get emotional, you get political, you can get tribal, and that could be something that could really, tear at a firm if you didn't have something where everyone could feel like, okay, we've all been heard, and now we've made the discussion.
Another part of the Lencioni book that helped us create our leadership team was talking about yes, we will not always agree on everything, but if you give everyone an opportunity to voice their opinion, when you make the decision at the end, you leave the room saying, I said my piece. Maybe it's not what I wanted, but that's a decision we made. And you're okay with it because you've shared your opinion and it was heard. And I
Yeah.
think that's also an important part of it is making sure if you are going to disagree on something, as long as everyone is heard and you're respectful, then you still leave the room feeling okay about the conversation that was had and it doesn't come from a bad place.
And I found when I was able to have uncomfortable conversations in this kind of group where I trusted people, and then nothing bad happened. And, people didn't leave the firm or get all, bent out of shape, and but that it actually made things better. Then it became easier for me to have uncomfortable conversations with other people at the firm. It became actually easier for me to have uncomfortable conversations with my wife and with my son. And, it's just, it's a skill that we have
It
to
is.
develop like anything else. And it's a skill that really pays dividends. And I found that it's so important to be transparent and to be honest with people when something's bothering us, especially with employees or coworkers, and we don't bring it up and it festers. Well, one, if they don't know what's bothering you, then they think they're doing just fine. And then two, it allows things to get so out of hand that by the time you address them, they can't be fixed anymore. And by having that conversation early, we are able to fix things.
In our leadership meetings, when we were discussing financials, we also discussed how each team was doing financially as well. That I think has made a great change in our conversations and also assessing how our firm is doing. It's not something that we did last year, and I'm really enjoying having that information and discussing it regularly because I think it helps us keep the health of the firm in mind when we're having discussions and see, well, what do we need to do? What's going to happen? What's possible? And decide what we can do to help along the way. Lawyers are competitive. Well, the best lawyers are competitive. And so I think sharing that information is really important for them. And also, it helps with transparency because the lawyers are working on their cases and they're bringing money in, but they don't have the conversations like we do about, well, how much does it cost to actually run the firm? So they don't realize what is profitable for them. They might just think profitable for them is making more than what we pay them, but it's not. And so helping them see the bigger picture and what is profitable, I think has been really critical in making sure that they understand what they're doing and when they do become profitable. And lawyers need goals. The only way they're going to reach their goals is if you tell them what their goal is so they can do it and check in with them and help them along the way so they know where they're at. But I think that's been really important for us. And for those people who don't have a leadership team that's as large as ours, then maybe your meetings look a little bit different. We talked about all the things we discussed in our weekly meetings. Well, if not all of those apply to your firm, then don't talk about all of them. Come up with what your top two or your top three are and discuss it with that other person. And if that other person doesn't have that trust that we've worked on and we've created and we have right now, then start small and then work your way up. Because, like you mentioned, it was not easy for you to share all of this information with us right away. And it did take a little bit of time before you got comfortable with it. So understand that maybe that's how it is for you in the beginning. Maybe it's going to take you a little bit of time before you feel comfortable sharing some of this information with whoever your leadership team is when you start it.
The book The Advantage by Patrick Lencioni is he's got lots of books with the theory. It's kind of like the step-by-step guide of how to do this. It's cheap. If you're thinking about doing this, get it. I mean, some people hire consultants and stuff. I've had mixed results with consultants. I've learned something from each of them, but they're all always a reason that they're consulting and not actually running a business too. But I find that if you just read the book and follow the method, it will improve your firm. So I encourage everybody. We spend more time with our work families than we do with our own families. Let's try to make this the healthiest, happiest family and most pleasant environment we can do, and so that we can actually prosper, do great work for our clients, and have fulfilling lives.